Hi everyone, my name is Caitlin and I am the Children's and Young Adult Librarian here at the Bluffs Library, and I'm back today to give you a book talk about some of our new young adult books. Yesterday you might have seen that I gave a book talk for a bunch of our new children's books. So I talked about our picture books, a couple of board books, some early readers, and middle grade. And today I am now going to share some of our young adult books. So I have some fiction books here with me and a couple of nonfiction books as well. And I just want to preface this book talk by saying that whether or not you have a teen or a young adult or no one, if you are interested in any of these books today, you can definitely check them out. They're not just for young adults, they are for everybody. So I will begin with some of our fiction books. I have 5 of us here with me right now. So the first young adult book that I want to share with you, we got this one in September. It's called How It All Blew Up, a novel by Arvin Ahmadi. I'll show you the cover. And to give you a little bit of an idea about what it's about, it's mostly about identity and what it means to find yourself. And it also shows you how some of life's most painful moments can, live right alongside those joyous ones that we have. So this book also received many reviews by a lot of best-selling authors. So I'll tell you about a couple of them. I'm hoping that you might recognize a few of them. Angie Thomas has praised this book. Becky Albertelli, Adam Silvera, all of them gave wonderful reviews for this book here, to give you an idea. So now I want to read the inside cover to you and give you a few more details about it. It says, 18-year-old Amir Azadi always knew coming out to his Muslim family would be messy. He just didn't think it would end in an airport interrogation room. But when faced with a failed relationship, bullies, and blackmail, running away to Rome is his only option, right? Soon, late nights with new friends and dates in the Sistine Chapel start to feel like second nature, until his old life comes knocking on his door. Now, Amir has to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth to a U.S. Customs officer, or risk losing his hard-won freedom. So that here is How It All Blew Up by Arvin Ahmadi. Now, the next young adult book that I have to share with you is called The Girl in the White Van by April Henry. And April Henry is a best-selling author of mystery books for both adult and young adult. Her young adult books tend to be a little bit shorter than adult mystery books, which usually are a pretty bit longer. Her young adult books, I'll show you, are a bit shorter. They're usually between 200 to 300 pages. I think this book here is 216. So April Henry is very good about writing mysteries, especially for a young adult audience. She is always my go-to author when families or patrons suggest or ask for books about mysteries or things like that. April Henry is my go-to. So if you are into mysteries, whether you usually read adult mysteries or not, definitely check out April Henry. We have a lot of her books. I can actually show you the back of this book. You can see a lot of the other books that she's written, all of these ones. We have a lot of them. So April Henry. And the next book that I'm going to share with you is called The Cat I Never Named, A True Story of Love, War, and Survival by Amra Sabic-El-Rayess. So if anyone who is watching, if you're a fan of cats, this book does feature a cat. This book, as it mentioned on the cover, is a true story. The author survived ethnic cleansing and more than 1,100 days under Serb military siege. And in the 90s, she emigrated here to the United States in 1996. And by December 1999, she had graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Economics from Brown University. So that just gives you a little bit of background about the author. Like I said, it's a true story, her story written by herself. So she went through all of that, came to the United States. Later on in her life, she eventually went on to earn 2 master's degrees and a doctorate degree from Columbia University, where she now is a professor. So I'll read you a little bit of the inside cover of this book. It says, in 1992, Amra was a teen in Bihać, Bosnia, when her best friend said they couldn't speak anymore. Her friend didn't say why, but Amra knew the reason. Amra was Muslim. It was the first sign her world was changing. Then Muslim refugees from other Bosnian cities started arriving, fleeing Serbian persecution. When the tanks rolled into Bihać, bringing her own city under siege, Amra's peaceful life vanished. Here is the stunning, true story of a teen who, even in the brutality of war, never wavered in her determination to obtain an education, maintain friendships, and even find a first love, and the cat who gave comfort, hope, and maybe even served as the family's guardian spirit. So, again, I'll show you this cover. And I want to, again, mention that even if you're not a young adult, if you were an adult, you can definitely request any of these books. Like I said yesterday when I book talked some picture books are not just for children. Their books are for everybody. Personally, I mostly read YA books, not just because I'm a librarian, but because I enjoy them. And I am definitely not a teenager. So if you like the sound of any of these books, definitely get in touch with us. Email, call the library, email me, and I can get you some of these books. So the next young adult book that I want to share with you is called The Lives of Saints by Leigh Bardugo. And I'm excited to share this book with you. This just came out, let's see, we got this in October, so just a couple of weeks ago. Leigh Bardugo is the best-selling author of the Grishaverse world. So she has two separate series. She created this whole world, and she has two separate book series that cover, they're in the same world, but they're separate. And it's this vast, rich world with so many details and so much culture. And this book here is a book of short stories based on characters and culture in this Grisha world that she has created. And each story that's in this book comes with an illustration. So because of copyright issues, I can't read the book or anything like that to you, but I do want to show you, I can show you one page. So I'll show you just a snippet of this artwork. So each story, like I said, and even throughout the stories too, they have pictures and illustrations kind of throughout. And to give you here, I'll go to the first. I'm able to read just a little bit of it, but again, because of copyright, I can't read a lot. So the very first short story starts like this. It's called Sancta Margarita. As sometimes happens in Ketterdam, a demon took up residence in one of the canals, this time beneath a bridge in the Garden District. It was a hideous, clawed thing with a scaly white hide and a long red tongue. So just based off of that, I think that was only 2 sentences. It's the very first paragraph of the whole book. You can see how much detail is in it. So if you're interested in this, this is a beautiful read. It's a beautiful story, especially if you are looking for something that is a bit more imaginative and unique versus a realistic fiction book. The last YA fiction book before I move on to YA nonfiction, is called Where We Go From Here by Lucas Rocha. Lucas Rocha lives in Brazil. He is a Brazilian author and librarian, and this book was translated into English. And I remember reading about this book maybe about a year ago, before it had even come out. I think they had announced the book deal. And I have been looking forward to this book for a long time now, so we finally have it. It's here. There was a lot of hype surrounding this book. So the back cover, to give you a little bit of information about Lucas Rocha, is a librarian from Rio de Janeiro but lives in Sao Paulo. He splits his time writing and working at a public library. This is his first book. It's his debut book. This book, to give you some information about the story itself, it's a novel about 3 gay friends who live in Brazil, and their paths become intertwined as each boy learns about HIV and faces HIV, all in different ways. So this book here is incredibly important for anyone who wants to learn more about HIV or maybe doesn't know a lot about it. And even if you do know about it, reading these 3 fictional tales about these 3 boys can offer so much information and so much education to then go and educate other people. HIV is a topic that is not widely discussed, which I think is partly why this book got a lot of attention and a lot of hype before it was published, leading up to when it was published. It is, I can't say enough about it. It's an incredibly important book with an important story. So if you're interested in this book, it's called Where We Go From Here by Lucas Rocha. And now I have 2 nonfiction YA books that I want to share with you. And actually, these definitely could apply to adults as well. They're not just for young adults, just as any book, I've said that. But this first book is called 27 Essential Principles of Story by Daniel Joshua Rubin. I'll show you the cover. It's quite interesting. Little typewriter on the front. So this is a writing book, which is why I said it's not just for young adults. It's for anybody, any writer, anyone who considers himself a writer. This book is for novelists, storytellers, filmmakers, game designers, and more. Any type of writing. And so if you're interested in improving your craft and improving your writing, this book, I'm trying to find the index here, the contents, it has a couple of different parts that could really help you. So part 1 goes over essential principles of plot. Part 2 goes over essential principles of character. And the third part goes over essential principles of setting, dialogue, and theme. So if you have a young adult, if you know a young adult, or if you are interested in improving your writing a little bit, writing is one of those things where you can always improve. You hear authors talk about, when they publish a book, at least I've heard this before in interviews, authors I've found have sometimes talked about how, was the book completely finished when it was published? Is there anything you would change about it? And most authors will tell you, yes, there's a lot of things, even when it's on the shelf, that I wish I could change. Because you can always improve on something, and that's with anything, really, whether it's writing or other hobbies. So if you are looking for a new writing book, again, this one is called 27 Essential Principles of Story by Daniel Joshua Rubin. And this isn't a book that you have to read from, cover to cover. If you are just looking for tips or ways to improve dialogue, you could just read sections of it. So it's not, it's a big book, a lot of text in there, but you can also just use it almost like a manual and go through and find the things that you really want. The next and last book that I want to share with you is also a young adult nonfiction book. It's called Journal Me Organized: The Complete Guide to Practical and Creative Planning. And I'll show you the back, because the back also has some interesting pictures. And then I'll show you a little bit of the inside. So basically, as you can see, this nonfiction book is about organizing, scheduling, planning, having a planner, but most specifically it focuses on bullet journaling. And if you're not sure what that is, I'll show you a picture in here. And I also have a bullet journal with me, so I'll show you that in just a second. So I know it's a little bit hard to see. So bullet journaling is when you have a journal that looks like this. It's a little thing. These are really cheap. We have a few of these just from past teen programs. But if you look real close, you can see that it has dots all over the page. And so oftentimes what a lot of planners do, if this is the kind of planner they want, is it's a blank page. So you can design it however you'd like to. It's a way to, stay organized. It's also a hobby. As you can see on this front cover, you could use watercolor if you want to. You can make the text kind of bold like they do in the middle here. You can write a little bit smaller, so it depends on the tools that you use. This book goes into it. A lot of times people will use fine line pens like this. And so if you know a teen, or you have a teen, or a young adult, or if you are interested in bullet journaling, this book could be for you. I'm looking through it right now, and it has different sections. There's a section on shopping, so meals, grocery shopping, things like that, a meal plan. I'll show you this picture. So if you are, we're approaching the new year. I know a lot of people make plans and goals at the start of a new year. If staying organized is something that you want, to do, or maybe you've been trying and you've never tried bullet journaling, this book can teach you a lot. So again, just to tell you, it's Journal Me Organized, The Complete Guide to Practical and Creative Planning by Rebecca Spooner. So all of these books that I just talked about are available for checkout. If you'd like to check out any of them, you can either email the library, you can call us, send us a message on Facebook and I'll see that, or you can log onto your account online if you go to clamsnet.org. And if you are interested in any of the picture books that I talked about yesterday, that video is still saved on our Oak Bluffs Library Facebook page. So if you scroll down from this video or go to our Facebook page and go to the tab that says Live, it'll have all of our past videos. You can watch the one from yesterday. It's about 30 minutes long, and I go over picture books, early readers, board books, and middle grade books for ages 8 to about 13, 14. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll be back next week to share some of our more new books with you.